Very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor and these are the headlines. Unique Identification Authority of India addresses privacy concerns, introduces the virtual ID for Aadhaar card holders. Concept to minimize leak and misuse of Aadhaar numbers. No end to bank free services from 20th of January, says Finance Ministry after media reports. Clarifies there is no such proposal and that the reports are baseless. Union Cabinet eases foreign direct investment norms in many sectors. 100% FDI allowed in single brand retail and construction. 49% investment by foreign airlines approved in Air India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with over 40 leading economists and experts at a pre-budget session held at Niti Aayog. Deliberates with them on economic policy, the road ahead. And US President Donald Trump expresses openness to holding talks with North Korea. Statement a day after North and South Korea hold day-long negotiations in the demilitarized zone. Our top story this morning, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday eased foreign direct investment norms in a number of sectors. It allowed 100% FDI in single brand retail and construction while also approving 49% investment by foreign airlines in Air India under government approval route. The government says the move will provide ease of doing business in India. However, the opposition parties have questioned the government's intent.
The government has approved relaxation in FDI norms in various sectors. At a meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday, it allowed 100% foreign direct investment through the automatic route in single brand retail. The current policy allows FDI up to 49% under the automatic route. Beyond that, government approval is required. The cabinet also approved 100% overseas investment in the construction sector. The cabinet also allowed foreign airlines to invest up to 49% in Air India through approval route ahead of its proposed privatization. The government, however, said substantial ownership and effective control of Air India shall continue to be vested in Indian nationals. Existing rules allow foreign airlines to own as much as 49% in an Indian airline, with the exception of Air India. Air India had a total debt of about 48,877 crore rupees at the end of March 2017, of which 17,360 crore rupees were aircraft loans, while 31,517 crore rupees were working capital loans. The airline is expected to report a net loss of 3,579 crore rupees for 2017-18 as per budget estimates projected for 2017-18 from a provisional net loss of 3,643 crore rupees for 2016-17. Besides, the government also allowed FPIs and FIIs to invest in power exchanges through primary market. Earlier, FII-FPI purchases were restricted to secondary market only. Among other decisions, the cabinet clarified that real estate broking service did not amount to real estate business and is therefore eligible for 100% FDI under the automatic route. The government said these measures will liberalize and simplify the FDI policy in order to provide ease of doing business in the country. Opposition parties, however, criticized the government for relaxing FDI norms.
Earlier, it was up to 49% under automatic route and beyond that through the approval route. So they have now made it automatic, but 100% was already there. Similarly, 100% in construction was already there. So minor change does not mean a major policy decision.
हमारे देश में खुदरा व्यापार क्षेत्र में कृषि के बाद सबसे ज़्यादा रोजगार पैदा करती है और विदेशी मल्टीनेशनल कंपनियों को यहाँ खुदरा व्यापार में प्रवेश करने से बहुत से छोटे दुकानदार और व्यापारियों का आजीविका खत्म हो जाएगा.
Besides the changes in the FDI policy, the cabinet also approved fixing the term for chairperson and members of the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism and Other Disabilities for 3 years through a proposed amendment in the law. It also cleared a cadre review proposal of the Central Industrial Security Force by giving it 25 new posts. The move is aimed at enhancing the capabilities of the paramilitary force. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday interacted with over 40 leading economists and experts from across the country at the Niti Aayog. The select group of economists and sector experts were invited for deliberations with the Prime Minister on the economic policy, the road ahead. The discussion focused on 6 broad themes of macroeconomic balances, agriculture and rural development, urban development, infrastructure and connectivity, employment, manufacturing and exports, and health and education. After the presentations, the Prime Minister assured the experts that the government will try to make the best out of their informative suggestions. The meeting was attended by a host of ministers, including Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, along with the Vice Chairman and CEO of Niti Aayog and senior officials from the government.
What came out very clearly today was one that the Prime Minister's call for doubling of farmers' income is not just a pie in the sky. So many experts said that we should shift from a focus on increasing agricultural production to raising farmers' income. You know, the statistics that you're getting on lack of employment generation are probably overstated. And here I can actually, in some sense, give you breaking news, which is that we in Niti Aayog have set up a small task force, had set up a task force with leading experts, professors from IIMs and otherwise, to examine what we call high-frequency employment data. And that has come out with some numbers which will come back with you.
On to the other top story of the day. In a bid to address privacy concerns, the UIDAI has introduced a new concept of a virtual ID. Now, these IDs can be generated by Aadhaar card holders from the UIDAI website and given for various purposes along with their fingerprints. The virtual ID will give users the option of not sharing their 12-digit Aadhaar number at the time of authentication. The virtual ID would be a random 16-digit number and will just give out limited details like the name, address and photograph, which are enough for any verification. A user can generate as many virtual IDs as they want, with the older ID getting automatically cancelled once a fresh one has been generated. The virtual ID will be mapped to a person's Aadhaar number and the Aadhaar issuing body will start accepting it from 1st of March this year. And from 1st of June, it will be compulsory for all the agencies that undertake authentication to accept the virtual ID from their users. Now, agencies that do not migrate to the new system to offer this additional option to their users by the stipulated deadline will face financial disservices. And the Finance Ministry has dismissed reports of public sector banks discontinuing all free services from 10th of January this year. In a tweet, a Financial Services Secretary, Rajiv Kumar, said that there is no such proposals and the reports are purely rumours and are baseless. The bankers' body, Indian Bank Association, has also issued a clarification. In a statement, IBA said that there is neither any move by banks for such a blanket removal of free services, nor such a thing is being contemplated. The Indian Banks Association said that the information is baseless and false and urged people not to get misled. The association, however, said that the banks are looking at commercial and operational costs and would constantly examine and revise charges as the case may be. Messages have been circulating on social media since the past 1 week that the banks would introduce new charges on various services from 20th of January. And the Union Home Ministry has said that the work related to 2021 census, which will cover the country's entire 1.3 billion population, will begin this year. The roadmap for undertaking the census was discussed at a high-level meeting chaired by Home Minister Rajnath Singh in New Delhi on Wednesday. Now, in a statement, the ministry said that the activities required to be undertaken this year in regard to the census 2021 were discussed at the meeting. Now, these include firming up the design, stakeholders meeting and pilot exercise in selected states, Remember, the last census was undertaken in 2011. Now, during the meeting, the Home Minister also discussed the progress in updating National Register of Citizens in Assam, completion of the activities relating to the National Population Register, and measures to improve and strengthen the civil registration system. Union Home Secretary Rajiv Gauba and other senior officials were present at this meeting. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet top BJP leaders today, including BJP Chief Amit Shah and party's general secretaries. The meeting, the top party leaders are expected to take stock of the current political situation in the country and also to review party's preparedness for the upcoming state polls, including the key election to the Karnataka Assembly. The meeting also comes ahead of the full-fledged budget of the Modi government. The BJP has been running campaigns in poll-bound states of Tripura and Meghalaya, both of which are likely to go to polls next month, and also in Karnataka, where elections are expected to take place in the month of May. And Maldives' Foreign Minister Mohammad Asim is in India on a 3-day visit. Mohammad Asim, who arrived in India on Wednesday, will hold talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj today to discuss key bilateral issues. Now, Asim, who is also Maldivian President Abdullah Yamin's special envoy, will also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. The visit comes amidst a strain in bilateral ties over a number of issues, including signing of an FTA between Maldives and China. During the visit, the Maldivian Foreign Minister is expected to convey the message that Maldives is sensitive to India's concerns over peace and security in the region. The Ministry of External Affairs had said last month that India expects that as a close and friendly neighbor, the island nation will be sensitive to India's concerns in keeping with its India First policy. On to some other news. The Bar Council of India, or the BCI, has asked all lawyers turned MPs, MLAs or MLCs whether or not they should be barred from practicing law as long as they hold on to their posts. Now, BCI says that the rules do not allow government employees to practice as advocates. The notice has been issued on the basis of a petition filed before the BCI. The petition was filed by BJP spokesperson of a Delhi unit, Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay, who sought the debarring of MLAs and MPs from practicing as an advocate. Now, if they are barred, the decision could have far-reaching implications on the legal careers of many top politicians, including Kapil Sibal, P. Chidambaram and Abhishek Manu Singhvi from the Congress party, and many in the BJP and other parties as well. These legal and political luminaries have been asked to respond to the BCI notice within a week, and the final decision will be taken on 22nd of January. And the Supreme Court on Wednesday asked the centre to respond to a petition that questions prayer sung in Hindi during the morning assembly at 1,125 Kendriya Vidyalaya schools across the country. The PIL questioned if public institutions could promote a particular religion and said that the prayers should be discontinued since the schools are run by the government. The plea filed by Madhya Pradesh resident claimed that students, irrespective of their faith and belief, are asked to compulsorily recite a prayer based on the Hindu religion at the morning assembly. It also pleaded that the practice created obstacles in developing scientific temperament among students. Now, operational for nearly 50 years, the Kendriya Vidyalayas are central government schools. Now, there are about 1,125 schools with a uniform curriculum and syllabus, which makes it one of the world's largest chain of schools. An election update, and today is the last day of scrutiny of nominations for the upcoming Lok Sabha and Assembly by-elections. The by-elections will be held on 29th of January to fill 3 vacancies in Lok Sabha. Polling will be held for Rajasthan's Ajmer and Alwar constituencies and West Bengal's Uluberia. By-elections will be held to fill 1 casual vacancy each in the state assemblies of Rajasthan and West Bengal, and polling will take place on 29th of January for by-polls in Rajasthan's Mandalgarh seat and Neopara constituency in West Bengal, and the counting of votes for both the Lok Sabha and State Assembly by-polls will be held on 1st of February. President Ramnath Kovind is in Bihar to inaugurate International Dharma Conference. President Ramnath Kovind will inaugurate a 3-day 4th International Dharma Conference on state and social order in Dharma traditions at Rajya International Convention Centre. Now, the event is being organised as part of the commemorative events to celebrate the Silver Jubilee year of ASEAN-India Dialogue Partnership with the support of the Ministry of External Affairs. Besides President Ramnath Kovind, Governor of Bihar Satyapal Malik, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Sri Lankan Minister of Foreign Affairs and Development Talaq Mahapana, among others, will attend the conference. And what all events are lined up for the day? Let's take a look in the day ahead. The officers of the GST Council are scheduled to meet today to deliberate on the reasons for the fall in GST revenue collection, which is a cause for concern for the Finance Ministry. The meeting comes after a decline in GST revenue collections was witnessed in subsequent months of 2017. In November, the GST collection was 80,808 crore rupees, down from a provisional rupees 83,346 crore in October. The GST Council, headed by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, will meet on 18th of January. The 7-member Election Commission team, led by Senior Deputy Election Commissioner Umesh Sinha, will review the poll preparedness in Karnataka. The poll panel team will meet political parties of the state and hold discussions with the top state government officials. The term of the present assembly will end in May this year. The Supreme Court will nominate members of the Special Investigation Team to probe the anti-Sikh riot cases that followed the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. On Wednesday, the top court asked the centre to suggest the names for its consideration and appointment in the proposed probe team. The committee will be headed by a former High Court judge. The Supreme Court said that the advisory body appointed by it has found that out of 241 cases, 186 cases were closed without investigation. The Supreme Court will hear the CBI's appeal against Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan in SNC Lower corruption case. The CBI moved the apex court after Vijayan was discharged by the Kerala High Court. The case concerns the renovation and refurbishment of 3 hydroelectric projects and contracts between the Kerala State Electricity Board and SNC Lower. The budget for the financial year 2018-19 will be presented in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly today. The budget will be presented by Finance Minister of the state. This will be the 4th budget in a row presented by Prabhu. In Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Welcome back after the break. The former Union Minister Arif Mohammed Khan has condemned the attitude of the opposition parties on the anti-triple talaq issue. In an interview to Rajya Sabha television, Arif Khan charged the opposition parties with changing their stand under pressure from the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Here is an interview.
Former Union Minister Arif Mohammed Khan says that strict provisions are necessary to stop the practice of anti-triple talaq. And in this regard, he questioned the conduct of the opposition parties who displayed one stand in the Lok Sabha and an equally opposite stance in Rajya Sabha.
They are not even saying that these leaders assured that they will sympathetically consider the viewpoint of the Personal Law Board. It is, as far as this text is concerned of the press release which has been issued by All India Personal Law Board, it is clear as if Personal Law Board is dictating to these parties what line they have to take.
Arif Mohammed Khan, who resigned from the Congress while opposing Rajiv Gandhi's government in Shah Bano case, also said that BJP is justified in seeking 3-year jail term to culprit.
I think more deterrent this provision is, more successfully it will stop the incidents of triple talaq.
In the Shah Bano case, the Supreme Court had awarded alimony to her, but the Rajiv Gandhi government reversed the judgment by bringing a bill in the parliament. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the countdown to launch a PSLV C-40 rocket carrying 31 satellites by ISRO on Friday morning will begin today at 9:28 a.m. The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle will be launched from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh at 9:28 a.m. on Friday morning. The PSLV C-40 will be carrying 3 satellites of India and 28 satellites of 6 other nations. The Indian satellites being launched are 710 kg Cartosat-2 series for Earth observation, a 100 kg microsatellite and a 5 kg nanosatellite. The microsatellite will be India's 100th satellite in the space. 28 satellites are from Canada, Finland, France, South Korea, UK and the United States. The first space mission in 2018 on board the PSLV C-40 comes 4 months after PSLV C-39 failed to deliver the country's 8th navigation satellite in the Earth's lower orbit on 31st of August last year. This as the heat shield failed to separate. And the Delhi police and Gujarat ATS have arrested a suspected Lashkar terrorist involved in the Red Fort terror attack that took place in December 2000. Bilal Ahmed Kawa, a declared proclaimed offender in the case, was arrested on Wednesday evening from the T3 terminal of the Delhi. Now, this after the Delhi police was informed by the Gujarat anti-terrorism squad that he was travelling from Srinagar to Delhi. A police official said that the money to the tune of 29.5 lakh rupees was transferred through Hawala in various bank accounts of Kawa to fund this attack. Now, Kawa was on the run since 2000 and was hiding in Kashmir. 3 people, including 2 army jawans, were killed in December 2000 Red Fort attack. And the United States on Wednesday issued a new travel advisory for its citizens with a level of advice ranging from 1 to 4 level, with 1 level being the most favored one. Now, every country has a travel advisory based on this system, which has replaced all the previous such advisories. Now, level 1 advises travellers to exercise normal precaution, while level 4, which has countries like Afghanistan, recommends do not travel. Now, India has been placed on level 2, which advises increased caution, while Pakistan has been placed in level 3, meaning reconsider travel. The American officials said that India was user-friendly but asked its citizens not to travel to Jammu and Kashmir except for eastern Ladakh and Leh. It also cautioned its citizens on incidents of sexual assault and rape as one of the fastest growing crimes in India. A top international story, US President Donald Trump has expressed openness to holding talks between the US and North Korea. Trump said this during a phone call with the South Korean President Moon Jae-in on Wednesday. Trump also said in the phone call that there would be no military action while North-South talks are going on, and that a media article saying that he was contemplating a military strike against North Korea was completely wrong. Now, the call comes a day after representatives from North and South Korea held day-long negotiations in the demilitarized zone, where Pyongyang agreed to send a delegation to next month's Winter Olympics and hold talks with Seoul to ease military tensions. After the talks, South Korean President Moon Jae-in at a press conference credited Donald Trump for making a huge contribution to bringing North and the South Korea together. Trump has also taken credit for the talks.
I just spoke to President Moon. He's very thankful for what we've done. They're having talks with North Korea. We'll see how that happens. He's very thankful for what we've done. It was so reported today that we were the ones without our attitude. That would have never happened. Who knows where it leads? Hopefully it'll lead to success for the world, not just for our country, but for the world. And we'll be seeing over the next number of weeks and months what happens.
Let's get to some more international news in World Wrap. Hundreds of rescuers are combing wreckage in Southern California for missing people after mudslides that have killed 17 people. Another 28 injured have been reported in Santa Barbara County following the deluge. More than 100 homes were destroyed and another 300 have been damaged. 13 people remain missing. More than 50 people have been rescued already, but many more places are still inaccessible. Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered the armed police force to uphold the absolute leadership of the ruling Communist Party of China. The remarks came as the police force of the country has been brought under the Communist Party's command for the first time. The move to bring armed forces directly under the Communist Party is aimed at consolidating Xi Jinping's leadership as he began his second 5-year tenure in the month of October last year, emerging as the most powerful Chinese leader in recent years. And 2 civilians were killed when police fired live rounds to disperse crowds that attacked a police station in Pakistan in a protest over the rape and murder of a 7-year-old girl. The police recovered the body of Zainab Ansari on Tuesday from a garbage dumpster in the town of Kasur in eastern Pakistan, 4 days after she was reported missing. It was the 12th incident of a girl being abducted, raped and killed in the past year in Kasur district. Residents have been furious at the authorities for what they see as a failure to investigate such cases. That's all in this edition of Breakfast News, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha television. Thanks so much for your time.